Hey everyone, come on in here. I want to tell you what's happening. I want you to meet someone that everyone needs in their life, I tell you. But come on in. I'm going to give some time for some people to get on before I introduce our next workshop speaker who will be at the Balance Conference 2024. I am super excited to have her. I'm just ecstatic about what's about to happen. I know something good about to happen because you just disappeared and reappeared.
Right.
So I know it's going to be magic tonight. It's going to be amazing. Do me a favor, y'all. If you're on, we're on several of our social media platforms. If you are on our Facebook, I want you to share this. Same thing with Instagram. I want you to tag somebody, share it, put it out there. And if you are on YouTube, I want you to like the page and I want you to follow more of what we're doing at the Balance Conference. This is going to be so very good. But I'm going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Today, we have a very special edition. I call this the financial money talk business that is necessary for us to begin to walk through these open doors. Well, let me introduce her. I wrote it down because I want to make sure I get it right because y'all need to hear about this young lady. Her name is Chelsea Ransom-Cooper. She's a true trailblazer in the world of wealth management. Chelsea isn't just an ordinary financial planner. She's a chief. Come on, chief financial planner. And she has a firm, right? It's called Zenith Wealth Partnership. Tell me if I got that right. Zenith Wealth Partnership. Chelsea, her work speaks for itself. I've been doing a little studying on her, little background check. Everybody needs to have her. Let me tell you why. She's on CNBC. She's on the Wall Street Journal. She has been on the Market Watch, and she brings fresh insight into the minds of people who don't have any idea about finances and financial planning. And that's why she's here tonight. She's a strategist. She just told me. She just did some work, found a home for people, got them financially prepared to move into it. I said, I didn't know financial planners do all of that. And she brings fresh insight, I'm telling you, and testimonies I've heard about her. And that's how I met her too, because someone spoke so highly of you. So I want to introduce to some and just reintroduce to others, Chelsea Ransom-Cooper. Come on, Chelsea. Can you just tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yes, thank you so much. That was an amazing introduction. Thank you. So a little bit about myself. You got it pretty much correct. My name is Chelsea Ransom-Cooper. I'm a certified financial planner, and I'm the chief financial planning officer that I partnered to create for a firm that I partnered to create in 2020 called Zenith Wealth Partners. We're an independent financial planning and investment advisory firm with a mission and a purpose to help women and people of color make smart and impactful financial decisions. Really, what led to us creating the firm, my business partner Jason and I back in 2020, was we noticed that there was an issue, right? When it came to financial advice and financial knowledge, it was really kind of kept up to the people up here. Like if you had money up here and you just had connections, then you got access to high quality financial advice. But if you didn't have, your parents' advisor, or if you didn't have $1 million, who was talking to you? Who was giving you advice and making sure that you had smart decisions? On top of that, a lot of people were really only talking to retirees because at that point, they usually had a lot of money as well. But the majority of the population doesn't fall into one of those buckets of being a retiree, of having at least $1 million, or being able to work with their parents' advisor. So who were you able to connect with to make sure that you were making smart financial decisions? And we just noticed that there was a big hole in the overall marketplace. So we decided to lead by with faith and intention to make sure that we were using our own advice to work with the people who inspired us to be financial advisors in the first place. So that led us to create Zenith Wealth Partners and making sure that we led with creating financial plans and giving advice and guidance so that other people could really reach their full financial potential.
Wow, I love all of that. So literally, you saw a hole, something that was missing, and you said, I'm going to step in. I'm going to redefine what this looks like, what's most important to people, and help people who are underprivileged, don't
Yeah.
really have the opportunity. They got some money, but
Yeah.
they don't know what to do with it. I love that. And that's why that's so needed in this time, because we need to be able to level up, and we won't have any excuses anymore that we can't get in the game. We don't know how to, because your firm is here now. And I love that.
Absolutely.
That. So I have a question for you. I
Yeah.
know that, like you said, when you got into this field and you realized that it wasn't any room for people who were, I want to say, underrepresented. You saw the need.
Right.
Is it difficult for you to get into that? Like, did you have
Ooh.
a challenge? Like, was you being fought? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, taking a step back or a few steps back. So, I graduated college, went to Syracuse University. And I
Wow.
remember when I was in college, I was like, I want to help people with their finances. And I went and told my academic advisor, and they said, well, the only option is you can file taxes or you could sell insurance. And I was like, no, I want to like help people like make decisions. They're like, well, that's not really like a thing. It's really either just like you're going to sell them life insurance or annuities or file taxes. So I just thought that there wasn't a place for me. So I ended up going and working at Ernst and Young in public accounting as a consultant there, until I met a friend of mine who introduced me to the Financial Planning Association in the world. And he said, hey, no, there's this whole other space called independent financial advisory firms where they actually do what you're looking for. So I started to do research over there, but I realized that they were really all these like ultra high net worth firms. So typically they were working with clients or families that had at least 2 to 10 million of investable assets.
Wow.
So when I was applying for these jobs, the imposter syndrome was very, very real. Like I'm coming from a place where, I was a finance major, but I really leaned into helping like my parents, other family members, and friends with their finances. But this wasn't like friends with millions of dollars. Like I was helping them, open their first credit card and savings accounts. So when I got the job, I was excited, but there was also a lot of fear because now I'm in a place where I have to have conversations with people who have more money than anyone I've ever met in my life and be confident and be the only Black woman, only person of color in those rooms. So it was very, very hard for me. I would say the first 2 years, I probably worked at least 14-hour days because I had to do the work and then I had to teach myself at the same time.
Wow.
And I didn't have any help. Like it literally was just Google, YouTube, and a lot of books as I was studying for my CFP designation, which I did through NYU. So all of that was just taking up a ton of time. And at the same time, I just had to continuously fight to be in the rooms that just didn't want me there in the first place. So it was hard. I had a lot of people who were like, why are you doing this? Like, this is just such a hard profession. But every day I would look and I saw that at the time, I believe it was 1.5% of certified financial planners were Black, and even less were Black women. So I was like, this is a horrible statistic, but it also means that my voice is needed. Like if I can persevere and like make it through this, like I know my voice is needed and the advice and the guidance I can be life-changing for a lot of people. So that's why I really pushed through, and I tried to get that firm to transition and see how I saw personal finance. But sometimes you have to, look at the people you're talking to and realize they're set in their ways, I'm set in mine, and it's time to, build something that really emulates what I was hoping for. And something in the beginning I used to always say as well is like I wanted to create the financial planning and investment advisory firm that I wish my mom could have had access to, 30 plus years ago. So everything I do with Zenith, of course, this is a for-profit business, but everything in our mission and vision leads to that as like a focus of making sure we're educating and helping people.
I love that. I know we had a conversation behind the scenes a week or two ago. And what I love the most is just your heart posture in wanting equality, wanting, some people just want a job to make money,
Right.
but your heart's desire is I want my purpose. I don't want to just do this to make money. I feel that I have a purpose to advise people. And I love what you said. So even your mama, like, I wish I could have done this for my mother. And this is so needed to give back. Let me ask you this, because my daughter, I had a conversation. She said, oh, she's a CFP. She said, I want to be that. I want to do that. Okay. And now when you said this, and I never knew that. I didn't know she wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you said it and you said you had to fight to get in those rooms and so literally at the Balance Conference, we're making room for people to come and get that information for what you had to fight for. So I personally want to tell you, thank you. Thank you for moving in your purpose. Thank you for agreeing to come to the conference and share with other women who may say, I didn't even know I wanted to be a CFP. I didn't even know that this was an option. I didn't even know that I need to manage my money. So I just want to thank you for that, for taking that step and fighting and taking those years in college. And even though they were trying to lead you one way, firm about your purpose. And I would say for anybody on here, if you're firm about your purpose, go get it. Go get it. That's what I consider courage. You talked about that. Courage. Yes. Courage. It's going to take courage to make an investment in something that you're passionate about, but it may not be so easily available to you. Let me ask you this. When women gather for this conference, and when you get up and grab that microphone, can you share a pivotal learning moment from your career that you believe can benefit them? Something that shifted you, that in your career that you believe can benefit them?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And as I was thinking about just my own career and like where I wanted to go, I think passion is really important, but skill is incredibly important as well. So although I did have this passion, I have to acknowledge I was the student that could get A's in math without even really trying, where like science and writing and like other things were really difficult for me. So I think when we're also trying to figure out, what do we want our mission and our purpose to be, we also have to think about where we have skills and where our natural skills or even transferable skills, right? And how that can lead to what the next phase or the next chapter looks like for us. And then on the finance side, I would say just thinking about and making sure you're putting yourself first. I think a lot of the times, like it feels like with our own finances, there's all these different things we need to do, right? When we have loans, we need to save, we want to pay down credit cards, we want to invest, we want to help out our family, right? We need to do all of these things that sometimes we just need to take a step back and just say like, hey, what do I need to do for me right now? Like, how do I make sure I'm taking care of me? And then I'm going to make sure all the other things are handled as well. But how do I take care of me? Because it really always starts with the mindset. And I always say, like, I can teach you all the technical, but if your mind isn't in the place where you're ready to receive the abundance and the positivity that wealth can bring you, it doesn't really matter.
Wow. I love that. So you talked about mindset. So you're dealing with finances. What kind of mindset do you need to have? Where should your mind be really focused? I know you said you got to be, ready to receive, but if my mind, if I'm just starting and I know that I know money, everybody knows money. I just don't know how to increase that money. I don't know how to make that money work for me. Yeah. If I'm coming from a place where my mind doesn't really have concept of what that looks like, what do I need to do first to prepare myself?
Yeah. So that's where you also have to understand that it's going to be a difficult conversation. Sometimes I feel like as a financial planner, sometimes we get into financial therapy. And I actually do have a few friends who are financial therapists, but
that's a thing. Wow.
That's a real thing. Yeah, financial therapists, and they're exceptional about it, where they really focus on mindset and helping people understand like what is holding them back from like when they get those recommendations, why aren't they moving forward? Or sometimes the behaviors that they saw their parents deal with money, and they don't realize that they're pulling some of those things in as well. So I think I know I mentioned specifically it's about receiving it, but it's also about accountability. And then I think also putting in the work. So sometimes like a financial planner is very much like a personal trainer, right? Sometimes if you go to the gym and then you're like, oh, I don't want to go, I start missing days, I start eating badly, right? And then it's not going to work. So whenever I'm talking to a prospect, I always let them know like, hey, this is a partnership. We're going to do this together, but I need to also hold you accountable and I need you to be ready to do the work, even when it's uncomfortable. And if you can agree to that, then I can agree to making sure that you will be your best self. But I need you to agree to both of those things as well. And if they're not ready to do that, I can also see it as well, because it'll be little things like not completing homework, not, revisiting their budget. And it's okay if you're not ready. Like, I do also want to say that is like everyone has a different path and a different journey. So just because you're not ready right now doesn't mean you won't be ready ever. But maybe just right now isn't the right time. And I've definitely had that conversations with clients as well. It's like, hey, would love to help you. Doesn't feel like you're fully in it right now. Let's take a pause. Maybe you got to work on some other things, family, and then let's try and revisit and see if another time is better.
Okay. That sounds good. When I'm watching you, just looking here at you talking, you're so calm. You're so like, Husa, bring this down. Now, for me, money makes me a little bit go a little like, what am I gonna do? Part of that is because debt, right? And I want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially when you have goals and you're like, I want to do this, this, this. I want to purchase my house. I want to do this. I want to do that. But you have this tremendous amount of debt. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I don't even know how I can have a financial advisor because I ain't got finances like that. I got money coming in. I'm robbing Peter, what they would say, to pay Paul.
Yeah.
And every dollar, every nickel, every penny, I get my check, or whatever money I got coming in the business is going right out. So how do you handle debt? What would you tell your client how to handle debt? We getting a little freebie, y'all. You know.
Here you go. You are. I always say start with grace and start with thinking about where did the debt come from. Like, was it something where like an emergency happening, you just didn't have the savings, so you had to lean on credit cards, right? Or personal loans just because you didn't have? Or was it there like a trend where sometimes we've also seen like if there's like something that happens really bad in our lives, we will lean on spending like shopping or travel and eating out because it's like, I hate my job. My family isn't doing well. Like, I can't control those things. I don't feel good, but I can go and buy, $1,000 at Macy's and now I feel better. Where now it's all on credit cards and I can't pay it. But in that short moment, I forgot all the bad that was going on in my life and it made me feel good. And if that is the reason, then like we also need to unpack that as well. Maybe you need to think about another career shift or talking to your family, because at the end of the day, then we're always going to continuously get in more debt until we get to the root of why you're getting into debt and then unpack that and then come up with a strategy around it. But once we do know how you started with debt and we're able to stop that, some key things that we always want to look at is, what type of debt do you have? Not all debt is bad, right? So we know mortgages, car loans that are at a reasonable rate, student loans that are at a reasonable rate aren't terrible, especially if we're on a payment plan that makes sense. But personal loans and credit cards can be at really, really high interest rates. And sometimes it can feel like you're just paying it and it's like nothing's happening. Nothing's happening because the payment you're making is maybe $100 a month and the accrued interest or the interest charges are like 105. And now you're like, well, why isn't it going anywhere? And it's like, well, that's the exact reason. So then we need to figure out, okay, what makes sense out of your cash flow and how can we pay it down? And sometimes the answer is like, it just doesn't make sense. And that's where we like to have conversations sometimes with debt management services or debt consolidation resources, where they can consolidate all of your debt into one payment at a lower interest rate and help you pay it off within 5 years. So if it does get to that point where it's just like, it's above me, it is too much and it is consuming me, it is okay to lean into some of those repair and consolidation tools that can just get you on the right path, because they're very good at just getting a system in place so you can pay it off in 5 years. But if you're kind of in the in-between, then what we'll do is we'll just set up a plan for you to make sure that you're paying off, especially the highest interest first. You want to stop that one from growing as quickly as humanly possible. And then you continue to work down from there. So the highest interest and then going further down.
I love that. And yes, I'm going to do it, Chelsea. I'm going to do it.
You're going to, and you know what else is really great to do is putting a year on it. So, especially for some of my clients, I was like, when are we going to be debt free? You tell me. And she said, I'm going to be debt free in 2025. I said, fantastic. We're going to make a plan around it. And I was like, and we're not going to forget. We said this, we're going to be debt free in 2025. So everything we do this year is going to be around that mission of being debt free by 2025.
Wow. And I love that, setting goals, setting money goals. Listen, the balance is all about financial empowerment, and that's the theme I really feel like women need the most in order to walk through those doors, whatever level they're on, whether they, like I said, have a lot of money and, they want to know where to invest it in versus people who may not have anything right now, but they want to make plans and they want to know where to put it and how to work it. Can you give us some ways we can take, more control of our money? Starting from, I don't know if the question is going to be good for you, but starting from someone who may not have it, like I said, they may be getting assistance right now. And what are some of the things you would tell them to plan, going up to someone who has means to really make investments? What would you tell them to do?
Yeah. So I would say first and foremost, like if you're just getting started, right? And like you just have like literally probably just enough just to cover like the basics. Like I would say just making sure you have a clear idea of your spending and just figuring out, making sure that you're staying within the income that you have, but actively you're looking for additional opportunities for income as well. That is not just like overstraining or like, you don't want to be working full 24 hours. But like I was saying before, like what are the skills? What are some things you're really good at? And I really believe that like in this day and age, like there are so many different ways that you can make money off the same skill, right? Like I think this is a perfect example of this, right? Like you have the conference and now we're on live. You could put this on YouTube. We could make a podcast. Like this could go 6-7 different ways, right? And turn into multiple streams of income. So once you find out what your skill is and what you're really good at, really try to identify like how many different ways you can generate income. And even if it's something small out of that same skill, because then it won't feel like work, right? Because it's the same thing that you're doing all the time anyway. So I think that's something really important to consider. But I have to say, like taking ownership of your cash flow, understanding what your money is going. This is super important for business owners, but honestly, it's important for all of us. We have to know what's coming in and what's going out, why it's going the way it is, because that is what we can control, right? Because then once we get to investing and all these other things, there are key places that we can't control, right? I can't control what the stock market does. And I can't control, where interest rates are going to go for real estate. But what we can control are the decisions we make and where our money is going, right? So that's what we want to make sure that we're prioritizing. But I do think investing, I got to say, I do think investing is so, so important because I know as Black women, like those are the two areas that we are underinvested from an asset standpoint is stocks and retirement. Like those are the two biggest ones. And Black women, we want to retire. We don't want to work. We shouldn't have to work forever. But we're not prioritizing retirement as much as we should. So if we know our goal is we do not want to work forever, we have to prioritize that because that's the one thing in life we can't take a loan out for, right? We can't do it the same way with a car or a business or real estate or honestly any personal things that we need. Retirement is going to be big and it's going to be long. And we want to make sure that we have an enjoyable retirement. So putting that money aside is incredibly important.
Wow. So a lot of these strategies you're going to give at the Balance Conference. Am I correct? I want you to really give us what you're going to give just a little bit so that those who need to be there in the room, they know that there's a space for them, because I don't want this just to be about, those getting out of debt and everything like that. But there might be, I'm believing there's going to be a couple of millionaires in the room.
There you go.
Here's the thing. I went to a conference at the beginning of the middle part of last year, and I got an opportunity to sit up front with a lot of those who invest in themselves. That's the first thing I realized, because them tickets was a little hefty. we got to sit in the front, and there was a lady next to me, and she was a CFP. I didn't know that. I introduced myself to her, and
Mhm.
she and told me what she did, and she began to talk to me because as the speaker was speaking, and he was speaking of all of these RFOs. Am I saying it? CFOs? No,
The
RFOs.
CFOs, yeah, the companies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the different ways of like increasing your money and how those who have millions or lots of money can reduce a lot of their taxes and different things.
Oh, yeah.
I was just clueless. And she, another African American woman, was
Mhm.
just breaking it down to me like, wow. And as I'm sitting up in the front, and I'm pretty sure a lot of those people in the front had money, millions, and I had an opportunity to sit next to them. I really wanted to pick her brain, but it didn't call for that because we were all there in the conference room. But I love
Yeah.
that everyone that's coming to the conference, the Balance Conference, is going to be able, especially if you get a VIP ticket, to
Yeah.
sit right next to you and really talk and get information about money management, about how to build your money. You may not be a millionaire now, but you want to be ready. It's all
Mhm.
about preparation. And that's one of the reasons I'm so grateful for you, Chelsea, because many people look past this, and especially when you don't have the money, right? You kind of
Yeah.
look past it. But I'm a believer in preparation. So can you just give us a little nugget? And when I say give us, just tell us some of the things that you're going to be talking about and why they need to be in the room.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about creating your financial plan, right? We're going to discuss and make sure that you know how to go about it from start to finish. And this is going to be a collaborative working experience. So it's going to be amazing where you can walk away with those tangible items. So we're going to start with the beginning, which is understanding your cash flow. Where is your money coming in? Where is it going out? How much is going to debt? How do we prioritize debt versus saving versus investing? We're going to talk about really having a clear idea of what your net worth is. How do you define what a net worth is? And it's okay if it's negative. A lot of people's are. But then what is the path to make sure that you're in the positive direction? We're also going to talk about investing. So, what does investing look like? How do we do it? How does the stock market move? And we're going to talk about retirement. And lastly, we're going to talk about building a legacy because I think it's so important that we make sure that we're planning not just for our lifetime, but for the people that we love and making sure that they're taken care of as well.
I absolutely. I'm excited to be in the room. Listen, the Balance Conference is a gateway to growth. Y'all hear me? And so
Mhm.
we're breaking barriers. And I love it that we get an opportunity to be around other women because that's what the conference is all about, getting together, rubbing arms with other women,
Yes.
picking them up, pulling them up. We're in this together. Thank you again, Chelsea, just for taking this time to be with me today because you didn't have to get on this live, and every workshop leader that gets on and our keynote speakers that will be on next week. I love it. Thank you so much. There's going to be a major change in your life, and that's going to start with your change. Cha-ching, okay?
There you go. There you go.
So I'm excited about this. Is there anything else you need to tell us that I may have forgot to the women and the men and anybody who's listening today that they need to hear?
Yes,
Give
this
us
conference is going to
information
be,
as well. Yeah.
yeah. So this conference is going to be amazing. And everyone who comes, I hope you come with an open mind and open heart and you're ready to learn because there's going to be a lot of education. This is going to be a safe space. So don't feel like you need to prep or read or anything, especially when you're thinking about your finances. I am an open book. So hopefully get to address a lot of your questions during the session. If we can't, feel free to come up to me afterwards or you can connect with me online. I'm on Instagram at chelsea.cfp, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn at Chelsea Ransom-Cooper, my full name as well. And I'm always happy to help, be a resource, and be a bridge to our people so we can build wealth.
Yeah. Listen, go check her out. I've been searching on her page. I'm looking at
Thank
I'm gonna be honest, you just make me so proud. Like you're a young, beautiful woman, and I love it. And I love it that you have the energy. And I love it that you have the passion. And I love it that you have the drive. And I love it that you have the determination. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the love. And I love it that you have the Black woman who is taking steps. And when you said that a few minutes ago, like you had to really fight through to get to where you are. And I just want to thank you once again for just pressing your way. You're going to help a lot of women and a lot of people just get out of a stuck place and move into where they need to be, finding that balance in life and not using excuses anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing what they need to do. I have a quick question. Do you have a book?
No, you're the second person to ask me that. I think I'm due for something now. I'm starting to feel I might be due for something.
I think that you have a book inside of you that we need to read. And I say this all the time. People don't really buy books. They buy people. Because they want to know, they want to into their life. Like, what? Let me read you, right? Because we're read. I believe that the Bible says it like this: we are a living epistle read of men. And so sometimes people need to open up the book and see exactly in words what they can't get in a 30-minute, interview or talk. So I would encourage you to write a book. We have this thing at the Balance called the Author Circle. And I was about to say, she got a book. I better get her book. But Circle, we have women who have just wrote a book or had a book that didn't have an opportunity to be showcased and talk about it and get other women excited, because I love authors. I love people who write. I promote it. I have 3 books. And so I'm constantly telling people, write the vision, make it plain, write it out so other people can read it. So important. So Chelsea, I can't wait to see your book. Come on. We got a deadline for that. You got a goal for that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now we got to speak it into existence. I don't know how long it takes to write a book or create it, but I'm speaking it into existence. Once I know how long it'll take, I'll give you the year.
Can I tell you this? Our next guest that's coming next Friday, she wrote a book in 30 days.
What?
30? That's what I said, because mine didn't come out that quick. But she did it. I know it's possible. So if I'm the second person that told you that, I think God is trying to tell you something. He's trying to give you clues that this is what needs to happen. But I want to just tell you guys too, if you have a book and you want to talk about it, you need to be at the Balance. And I literally want you to inbox me at my email me. I'm sorry. You can inbox me or you can email me at Ruth Langhorn, askruthlanghorn.com. And you can put that up for me. One of you put it up that if you're interested and you have a book that you wrote and you need people to hear about it, because that's another way, which you talked about, multiple streams of income, that you would be able to bring in a multiple stream to you so that you can make these investments. Come on, Chelsea, help me out. Make investments so that you can begin to be healthy, wealthy, strong, and your mindset will begin to change. No more excuses. So I would love to see every single one of you guys register today. You don't want to miss this. You're going to get Chelsea's knowledge. She had to work hard for, fight hard for to get in the room. You're going to get knowledge on emotional intelligence. You're going to get knowledge on networking. You're going to get knowledge in relationships. You're going to get knowledge on how to balance out your life and get into a place where you can really begin to walk through those open doors with no more excuses, with courage, with strength, and with information. How about that? And I believe information changes seasons. So you guys, thank you so much for getting on here. I am not going to hold her any longer, even though the last couple of lives we've been on for hours, but I'm not going to do it to you. Yeah, about an hour and a half or so. But I'm excited. We'll see you guys at the Balance April 4th. Stay tuned after this to hear all about it. I want y'all to look at this video, but not only that, I need you to share. And here's another thing I want to throw in there. You can sponsor someone. Maybe you're in a different city, a different state, and you're not going to be able to make it. But how about this? You sponsor a lady who needs an opportunity to have all of these resources at her feet so that she can become something in life that she has always wanted to be, knew she could be, but didn't know how to get there. So guys, you can do that as well. Go on our website, thebalanceconference.com, and say, I want to sponsor. I want to register. I want to be there. I need to be in the room. Thanks for getting on, everyone, and we will talk to you later.
The minute I walked in here, I went to all the tables. I purchased 2 books right away because I knew these 2 books were like, yes. And I met beautiful ladies, and the environment, the beauty of just the whole setup.
This is the first time that there's been a separate room given to the entrepreneurs in a welcome room. And so logistically and strategically, it just makes a difference. The venue that they have selected and having a room for the entrepreneurs, and the way that the time was structured so that the entrepreneur networking, and of course we women all like beautiful things, and having time to really take that in and see the different vendors but really make connections.
Whatever Lady Ruth and her husband do is positive. It's going to bring glory to God. So I was ready for a treat. And I would tell every woman, come on over here and come to balance, because God want to bless, encourage, and strengthen your life.